So we just got back from watching Supergirl with Millie Alcock. Was it super great, super bad, or super meh? Well, it's complicated.
Yeah, no, I kind of understand why some people are writing what they wrote in the reviews now that I've seen it, because I think I would rate it higher if it wasn't called Supergirl, because it's very not Supergirl. So
yeah, we'll talk about this. We're going to give a review. Of course, for those of you who have listened to our reviews before, we do the spoiler-free review and impressions at the beginning, and then we'll tell you when we're going to get into major spoiler territory. But I can say, for the most part, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen a lot of the movie. So, I mean, there's some stuff, but it's not, there were no like major surprises at all in this. I didn't think. So this is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
This is Clownfish TV, and we are a hater channel. So of course we're going to.
We are not. We are. We will be fair. That's my thing. Is like I will do my best to be fair.
Yeah, we actually went into this one open-minded, and I have thoughts. So before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woo.
If you'd like more Clownfish TV, go out to more.clownfishtv.com for more episodes you will not find here on YouTube, and also check out the audio version, the podcast version of Clownfish TV, iTunes, iHeartRadio, the drill, Spotify, all those places. So, it's not going well for Supergirl this weekend. I guess maybe we'll start with that, and then we'll get into the review. It's still sitting at 59%. You said it was 60 earlier?
It was 60 earlier. We haven't got the audience scores, which is funny because remember last time I was like, they were having the audience scores up, and I on the preview night, I said they usually don't do that on preview night. They usually don't do it until. And notice how they don't have the audience scores up for this one.
Yeah, that is weird. And they waited
did it for
until
Mandalorian and Grogu, but they didn't do it for this.
They waited until the very last minute. The very last minute to put the critics score. Yeah, but the audience is not there either. So
it usually isn't. It was like weird that it was showing up earlier during preview day for like ones like Mandalorian and Grogu and stuff. I think that's the movie it was, and I pointed out, I'm like, that's weird, because it wasn't usually like that, and they did that for that, but not for this one. I think the critics are fair in some of the stuff they're saying, where they're basically like, it seems like I saw here a couple people said this. That's Alcock's performance that helps stitch Supergirl's underdeveloped ends into something reasonably engaging. If it wasn't Supergirl, it would be much better. I think it's a better movie.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from it too. And we'll talk here a minute, but it's the audience. Speaking of the audience not being there, I guess the projections for this weekend are kind of dropping, and I think as the word of mouth gets out, I'm not sure if it's going to help or hurt, because the movie itself, gonna be honest here, it's not terrible, but it's not a Supergirl movie. It is Mad Max in space. It's Furiosa with superpowers.
Yeah, see, that's just it. It's like you're telling me, it's kind of like with the Revelation. If you had just been upfront with people and said, here's what it's going to be, they would have been like, okay. And they wouldn't have been so upset because they weren't given He-Man. It's like that, because you're not really given Supergirl, but it's not terrible on its own either. But if you had tempered expectations, I mean, it's kind of like we were talking before amongst ourselves, that it's kind of like the She-Ra Netflix show, where it wasn't a terrible. If it had been its own thing, I would have given it a much higher rating than them saying it was She-Ra, because it wasn't She-Ra. It had a coat of sheer paint on it. And that's kind of like what this is. I think I would give it two different scores. One, if you're scoring it as a Supergirl movie, and one is scoring it as just a movie.
Yeah, this is a tough one, because I was thinking about it the whole way home, and I'm kind of like, how do I rate this? Because it's like, if it were called anything but Supergirl, if it were like, just some like, I don't know, super powered mutant lady or something that, but didn't have any connection to Supergirl or even the DC EU, I think I probably would be more favorable toward it. But
because they're calling it Supergirl.
Because you're calling it Supergirl, and she's barely Supergirl in it. And that's actually one of the biggest problems I have with it is, and this is a major spoiler, I'm not going to go into the hows and the whys, but they basically keep her depowered throughout, or definitely in a state of diminished power throughout most of the movie, so they can make it this movie, because you couldn't make it this movie with kind of the low end stakes and whatever if she were fully powered.
She was powered up, yeah.
Because it would be over in like 5 minutes. Right.
And I think this is this person's comment to this Marlon Wallace. While the film might do a better job with the lone wolf and cub dynamic, most superhero films are die by their villains, and this one mostly falls in that regard. It fails in that regard. Yeah, because they kept her powered down, so the villains weren't as powerful.
Yeah.
As you would fight normally, because they weren't that big of a deal. If
yes.
she's been powered up, when she's powered up, they're like barely an inconvenience.
Yeah,
but
so that's the thing.
Depowered most of the time.
Yeah, it's basically like taking the Avengers and making them fight like street level thugs. Like, no, that's what Daredevil's
I'd say
for,
he's
right?
a little more than a street level thug. But
yeah,
he's
but
not
that's
like, he would be easily defeated by any by any person from Krypton with a yellow sun.
Yeah, and there were some things in it that we'll talk spoilers here in a little bit, but yeah, they have to basically keep her depowered. She's not like Supergirl until the very end of the movie, which I even then question whether or not she's very Supergirl, because some of her decisions are very morally ambiguous. But yeah, it's an okay science fiction movie. It's definitely more Mad Max than a superhero movie, which is kind of weird. My personal rating, I would give it like a 5.
If you're rating it as a Supergirl?
No, if I were rating it as just a movie.
As a Supergirl movie, I'd say probably 5. As another movie, just a movie like, that she was just like a Mad Max type situation, I'd probably give it closer to a 6. But I'm always more generous than you are with these. Yeah,
you were with Superman. I think the original Superman movie, I might have actually been a little too hard on it. I think what again, this is the problem I'm having with the James Gunn DC is I have expectations. Like when I go see a Superman movie, I want it to be about Superman.
Well, that's my point about bringing up the He-Man, the Revelation.
Yeah.
Because people were expecting, they didn't temper expectation. So, I think the same with the She-Ra show from Netflix. So people were expecting a She-Ra show, and that's not what they got. They said it's She-Ra, but it's a completely different show that they wanted to tell, but they used She-Ra as the paint on it to sell it. And that's what this kind of feels like.
That's what this feels like.
They wanted they wanted to tell this one story that they wanted to tell. And a lot of times, to be fair, I mean, without getting spoilers, we'll get those in a bit, it gets in its own way. And I remember other reviewers said something similar, and I get what they're saying now. It even has like things that are set up and it's going well, and then they do something so stupid that it's like, why, if you just take that out, it would have made this, infinitely better. But you had to get it in there because you thought, I have to do this because I want this in there. And it's but if you hadn't put that in there, it would have been a better movie.
It almost feels, in some ways, it feels almost like a fanfic if you didn't like Supergirl very much and you just wanted to take the Kara character and make her somebody else entirely.
Like She-Ra.
And drop her into a totally different set of circumstances and change her entire personality.
Like She-Ra.
Basically just make your OC named Kara and drop her in the movie. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. So I would say we have to get into the spoilers because I don't know where else we can go with it. But I would say it's very mid as a movie. It's not terrible. I can't say it's terrible.
But I think people were giving it 3 out of 5 or whatever. I think, to me, I think that's still probably a little, that'd be 6 out of 10, which if it was not a Supergirl movie, I would agree with. So, but that's, the middling reviews, I think are probably fair.
I think that's actually very accurate. That was my feeling, because it wasn't one of those things where I walked out of the theater and I had like a strong reaction one way or the other. It was just kind of like, that was a very okay movie that really didn't have much to do with Supergirl.
I think I'm the demographic that they wanted for this, like more like me, and I didn't dislike it as much as you.
And Rachel Leischman.
Yeah, but I didn't love it like her either. I always try to be as super fair as I can, and I didn't think it was a terrible film at all. But I don't think, I mean, I've seen much worse films. This wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. But I'd watch it again. But I don't think as a Supergirl film it made sense.
No,
in a lot of places it didn't make sense to me. And if you had taken it as not Supergirl, I would have probably liked it a lot more.
So here's the spoiler part, because we gotta get into that, because it's like we're dancing around the issue and people are like, come on, just rip the Band-Aid
Well,
off.
we can't until we do get, because we want to make sure anybody who wants to see it, I know it's not many of you,
There's not many of you, and there's not going to be very many. This weekend's not looking too good for it. But yeah, so let's get in the spoiler territory for those of you who are looking forward to seeing this movie and you don't want to be spoiled. Don't watch trailers because you've watched most of it already, more or less. But
pretty much.
You know, so anyway, yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's talk about the plot. The plot is exactly what you thought it was. Supergirl's out partying for her birthday. She is missing her family on Krypton. She's just going pub hopping and
she's messed up because she, lost her family and remembers it because she wasn't a baby when she got sent here.
Right,
so
right.
She's got some deep pain.
Super issues. She's super bummed.
Understandable ones.
So they do via several flashbacks smattered throughout the movie. They do tell you her story, which is her father, which was Jor-El's brother, builds a shield around the city on Krypton, and that survives the destruction of Krypton. Unfortunately, everybody gets radiation poisoning from the kryptonite, and they're all dying. So they send her to Earth to go be with Kal-El, Clark, and they put her in a little pod with Krypto and shoot her to Earth. And, Superman's like very cool about like, hey, I've been waiting for you. Come on over.
Yeah, basically.
Like, whatever. It's like not barely an inconvenience. But so she did have to go through all that trauma. Now this happens later. They basically drop you into a movie called Supergirl, and there's no Supergirl in the beginning. Like if you didn't see the Superman movie, you don't even know like she's Supergirl. Like she doesn't even show any indication of having powers until a good like half an hour into the movie. She deliberately goes to a planet with a red sun, which if you know Superman lore, that means she's depowered because that's what Krypton had. And so she goes there so she can get drunk. She can't get drunk when she's full of power.
Which makes sense because I was like, how the flip is she getting drunk? But then they're like, that's how she get her ears pierced. But wouldn't her ears have healed up when she went to the yellow sun? Like, unless they're made out of kryptonite. I mean, those ears.
Comic book movie. Don't ask questions. Okay. But she can be injured. She's mortal. She can be injured. She thinks it's kind of funny. She can bleed. And again, she does it to get plastered, to get wasted, to stop thinking about how much.
Yeah, which I mean is understandable for people, but something you think of for Supergirl.
Right. And that's, yeah. So then she crosses paths with Ruthie, the kid with the sword. Her parents were murdered by her brother. Oh, yeah, I forgot she had a brother. He was barely
that's why I think what got them all killed was her brother. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah, as a whole, jump scare. He's dead. We're all dead. Okay. So there were some bandits and they killed her family. And she wants revenge, and she goes to the bar where Supergirl is, and is like, hey, I'll give you this real nifty sword. Anybody that can help me kill the leader of the bandits, I will give you this awesome sword, and yada, 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 fight. She sees Supergirl kick some ass without powers on Alien, and she's like, yep, I want you to be my champion. And she doesn't want to do it because she's too busy getting drunk. And then yada yada yada. I mean, I'm like really abbreviating.
Well, no, basically they try to. The reason Krypto gets shot is because they're going to steal her ship.
They're going to steal her ship.
Krypto,
yes.
Like any other dog, he's going to protect his home.
Yeah.
And he's rushing at them like, get out of my house. And then they shoot the dog and they steal her ship.
Yes, our dog would do the same thing. So,
and then you have 3 days, which you know from the trailer, to save the dog.
Again, you've seen the movie. I mean, that's the weird thing. Like, I thought they were maybe holding back on this one. Like, maybe there's going to be some like big reveal. I'm like, no, they pretty much show you the whole movie in the trailer. It's like it's
if
so
you're
she's
wondering
on,
if a dog dies, the dog does not die.
The dog does not die. So dog stays with the alien elder, whatever, and he's like Krypto's not even.
Because
like,
they said you can't move him; it'll make the poison move faster. Because I was like, why don't you just take him out to a yellow sun?
Exactly.
And like I mean, just get him on a ship and take him to a yellow sun. Because no, she can't fly outside because she doesn't have her powers. But I'm like, just take him on she gets on like a space bus anyway.
She gets on a space bus.
Take the dog in the space bus to the yellow sun. I mean, it really isn't that big of a deal, but they made a point. Oh no, if you move him, it'll move faster and he'll die quicker.
Yes, we can't do that. We can't just
Someone probably said, isn't that a plot hole? Oh, we'll fix that.
Oh, there are lots of plot holes in this movie. There are lots she'll take care of the dog. So then the dog's like out of the picture for most of the movie.
So Krypto's not even in the movie for most of it.
It's barely in it.
If you hate Krypto, you're in luck.
Yeah, he's barely like, oh, crypto's dying. Okay, moving on. So we had to have motivation for her to get involved with the whole
Well,
quest.
she was trying to stay out of it. Like
She's
she
trying
was
to stay
telling the
out of
girl
it, but-
no, until she became involved. And then she's like, okay, well.
a very Mad Max plot line where Max just wants to do his thing and he always gets.
Except the dog doesn't die.
Yeah, that's true. The dog does die in Mad Max, but like that's a typical Mad Max setup, right? He's just kind of minded his own business and he just wants to do his thing and he gets sucked into some bigger thing and everybody wants him to be a hero. He doesn't want to be a hero. We don't need no heroes. Tina Turner sing it, the whole thing. And so anyway, yeah, Ruthie's on the bus. She meets Ruthie. They decide there's some like blinking techno whatever thieves on the bus, and that was kind of a cool little scene. And they're going to go on a quest together to go take down the bandits because she wants her dog saved. Oh, and also to help Ruthie, but not really. Mostly she just wants to save her dog.
That's what she keeps telling Ruthie, don't do revenge because I'll make you, eat you up inside. Don't do it. But anyway, then they go to this one planet and they, that's where the Lobo shows up. And yeah, wasn't it interesting though? Like she's like, don't make eye contact because he's a god and all he thinks, and he's with a god. He's a guy. He's more with a god complex or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember how she worded it. And then she's like, she goes from that to later making jokes at him about, he's like, aren't you the ditz from the bar? Like,
yeah, being like a valley girl. And
yeah, but I'm just like, but like he, but she's like afraid of him, tells her not to make eye contact. Like, it's not worth it. And then later on, when they have to be like in a fight together, she's like making jokes at him. Like, it was a very big jump. Like, I thought you just said don't make eye contact with him just like a few minutes ago in the movie, and now you're like,
don't ask questions.
You're just like, that's why I called you too. It sounds like I had this really good joke and I wanted to insert it in there.
There's a lot
some way.
Well, okay, so talking about the things being inserted awkwardly, some of these scenes, I swear to God, were written around a certain song that the director or James Gunn had in mind, because you could tell they had like the whole sequence. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a fight sequence set to this song? And let's do a whole thing set to this song. It's like, oh, come on.
And sometimes it does not work and it sticks out like a sore thumb. And that's what I'm talking about when I said there's moments that they get in their own way. Because you can be like, okay, this is cool. This is going well. Okay, there she's acting like Supergirl. All right, hell yeah. And then they play a song, and it was just, thank God it wasn't I'm Just a Girl in the World or whatever the song is. I was waiting. It might as well have been.
It might as well have been, yeah.
And it was like, it took you right out. It was like, why did you do that? Like, that was pointless. They would take those stupid things out and just focus on the assignment. That I would rate it higher. They got in their own way so many times.
This, like, I'm watching this in between the visuals and the whole, I guess, vibe of it, the whole, like, I'm trying really hard to be indie edgy and look at my exquisite taste in music. I'm like, this is like reading a Paul Pope comic. Paul Pope is an indie comics creator who did some stuff for DC. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, but it's kind of like that. It just feels like, yeah, he's talented. Yeah, his stuff looks cool, but also it just feels pretentious. Like, it feels like it's trying to be more than it actually is. And that's kind of, now Paul Pope is listening to this and he's going to be like,
feeling it was trying to be like more like it was, as much as it was that they thought they had a good idea that wasn't.
No, it was like, look,
into
it was like a hipster made the movie.
It did not translate.
It was hipster-ish. It was very
in places, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we can't do a cape movie. We can't do like okay, so there's this trend for a while, and I think it's kind of being walked back now in comics, where we had a bunch of hipsters making comics. They were embarrassed by, they called them cape comics. So what they would do is they would take superhero characters and try to turn them into other kinds of characters, deconstruct them, and basically make them unheroic in a lot of ways. And that's what this felt like. This felt like we were trying to deconstruct Supergirl, because it's kind of cringy to have her flying around in blue spandex and a cape and a miniskirt, but that is the character. It's actually more cringy to turn her into a drunk and have her beat the shit out of people, to a questionable cover of The Middle by Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
That was a weird choice, but okay. And you could tell they just had that scene in their head. Like, wouldn't it be really cool?
It does not translate. It just takes you right out of the movie. And then the other thing, like you were talking about the things that I thought were negatives to the movie, was they kept making sure, like, well, why are you Supergirl, but he's Superman, you know? And
yeah,
then, like,
that was right after we get into the whole brides thing, and we get into the whole like
it's all yeah, it's a try that they're all men, but
Furiosa.
yeah, it was basically,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know, and all the men in this movie are, for the most part, except for Superman, are either complete assholes, they're disgusting pigs, they're violent as hell, and they just want to enslave women, or yeah, or they're like total pusses that sell out women because they want to, you know, save themselves or save their kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like there weren't really, like, I mean, Lobo is likable because he's Lobo and he's funny, you know, but I'm just saying he's still, like, you know, not a good guy.
Yeah, there were no
wasn't any-
heroes. There were no heroes in this, except for Ruthie. I guess she was trying to keep Ruthie pure, which could mean so many things. Like, don't get your hands dirty, Ruthie.
But I mean, yeah, so I don't know. And then you get to the end, and she's still trying to get the antidote. And they got to the place that got this planet, and then they happen to have this planet where it has a green sun and a yellow sun.
That was okay. So this is actually one of the biggest problems I had. Like, the biggest plot hole in the movie is like, okay, let's take her to a planet that has a green sun so we can depower her, because we know she's a Kryptonian, and if yellow sun. Okay, but this planet also has a yellow sun, so we're gonna hope she dies. But if the sun just happens to come up, the yellow sun just happens to come up, which is what happens, she's just gonna happen to get her powers back. That's not a very good plan. We're just gonna leave her there. You know, we're just gonna leave her there, and hopefully she dies on this planet. But you know, we're not 100% sure.
At least they didn't play "The Sun Will Come Up Tomorrow" from Andy when they did that. That would have been on par with everything else.
No. It would be a cover of "The Sun Will Come Up Tomorrow" by some obscure indie band you've never heard of.
Because punk rock.
Because punk rock. Yeah.
But yeah, so she gets, the yellow sun comes up, and then you think she's dead, and then, oh, look, she's revived, and stuff. And then of course they hit her with arrows with kryptonite, which they never did before. And, you know, but that's barely an inconvenience. She gets through that pretty quickly.
Well,
but
she almost
finally goes to Supergirl.
Yeah, she goes into Supergirl mode. But again, she becomes Supergirl. She puts a suit on, she gets powered up, but immediately they have to depower her with kryptonite darts. Right?
It's like they were never letting her fight at full power, which is kind of an insulting to it. I thought this was supposed to be pro-woman. It's pro-woman, but, you know, I guess the message is she can still, if we keep her half-powered, she can still win. But Superman gets to be full-powered most of the time and gets to kick ass, and that's fine.
It's pro-woman. She's on her period. She's on her period. She can't fight at 100%. She's only like
oh no, 80%. That you would want to stay away from her that week. She probably could fight at 1,000% that week.
But no, I mean, I was actually like why are we making a Supergirl movie in which she is not allowed to be Supergirl? And it's like, they'll be like, well, it's a study in Kara's character. It's like, no, you call them, again, this is like the same problem I have with the Superman movie. If you call the movie just Superman, people expect Superman mostly being front and center in the movie, and he was not front and center in that movie. He was basically a side quest for Mr. Terrific and Lois to go fetch him, which I hated. I hated that. I mean, I liked the casting, but I didn't like that the Superman movie was an ensemble movie. Same with this. She's Supergirl. But no, she isn't for like 95% of the movie. She really isn't. And then when she is, we find a way to handicap her so she can't be that super.
Right. So for all their pro-women message, they just didn't let her just go full out and be. They're probably like, well, she can still fight even though she's you know, powered down. And I'm like, that could be the case, but that defeats the purpose of her being Supergirl. The reason she's Supergirl is, yes, she faces challenges, but you just like gave her challenges for 2/3 of the movie, well, probably 3/4 of the movie. It's just, I don't know, but she does go full Supergirl. The yellow sun's there. She gets the antidote. She saves all the girls. There's a really good fight scene where she's like beating the shit out of people and like Supergirl style, and then she comes up with the sun behind her. Really, that was really cool. But they had to ruin it with stupid music. And then what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say the reason they depowered her is this plotline, this movie. They couldn't have made this movie this way, this story, if she was a full-powered Supergirl, because it would be over like super quick. It would just be like, that guy shot my dog. I'm going to fly up there and
kick his ass and get
the antidote, and we're done. Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that'd be over too fast. So, but you finally get her Supergirl at the end, and then she kind of realizes that, and they save Crypto. Crypto's okay, but Crypto recovers super quick. And then
that was kind of weird.
It was weird. And then, you know, the girl's going to stay with her aunt, And so she goes out with the girl for a little bit longer, and then she and Crypto go to back to Clark's apartment or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was Clark's, or
was it
maybe
hers?
I don't know. But
he was there.
Clark comes in through the window, so maybe he's got the window key or something.
I don't know. She opens it and goes in. Well, no, because he knew what the dog was into, so I think it's his apartment.
Okay.
And she stays with him or whatever. And like I said, if it either go in all Supergirl, or just make it another movie and that's something else, that girl might have powers, but she's not Supergirl, and it's a different kind of character.
Yeah, so
pick a side. That's your problem. That's your biggest problem.
That's the biggest problem I have with this is they call it Supergirl, but you literally could, because this version of Supergirl is not what you'd think of as being Supergirl, right? So she's already not really Supergirl in personality or anything.
Yeah, she's the one that kills the guy. She stops the kid from killing him.
Yeah.
And then she kills him, which I thought was, okay.
Yeah. So look, she's not comic book Kara. I don't think she is, but I understand she's got more of an edge to her, but still, you could take her, you could drop the Supergirl stuff altogether, call her something else, replace Lobo with another badass bounty hunter or whatever, and the movie still works on that level. So that tells me it's not a Supergirl movie, because you don't
She-Ra and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't need Supergirl in this movie to make this movie, right? You could have another superpowered individual or something, but don't call it Supergirl. She's not going to be Supergirl throughout most of the movie.
That's why I said, are we rating it as a Supergirl movie, or are we rating it as a movie not called Supergirl? Because if you're rating it as a Supergirl movie, it fails. I mean, it's probably like a 5. If you're just another movie that she wasn't Supergirl, I would definitely have rated it higher. I would have given it at least a 6, maybe even like 6.5 if you're not being Supergirl. The fact that they're calling this Supergirl, and some of and honestly, they got in their own way. Stop making these stupid choices. Like, wouldn't it be cool if I did this? Because I think it's cool.
I love this song. Let's build a whole sequence around this song.
And you could tell it did not you did not get the assignment there. It was not good in that regard. Like and people, that's kind of what they're saying in the reviews too. They've made comments similar.
I see why they're so mixed, and even the praise is very tepid. It's very muted, because this is a tough one. This is a tough one to score, because again, I can't say it's overall a terrible movie, but it definitely is not a Supergirl movie.
Yeah, like one person, Supergirl should be better than it is, but Millie Alcock was good. She was good. She was good. Tremendous slog. And that's something else. They said slog, it reminded me too. There are parts of it you're just like, it should be over by now. And it was like, okay, we should be wrapping this up. And then it was like, and another thing. And it was like, you could have ended this movie 20 minutes ago, easily. It just, and another thing. But that's what they kept doing. And then this happened. And then
they cut a half an hour. They cut a half an hour. From this thing.
Oh, thank God!
What the hell is going on?
It's unquestionably the best Supergirl movie to feel a 2, but it could aim for more. Yes, it never flies to any great heights, but stays at a pleasant cruising altitude. It's just a different movie. It's not Supergirl.
As a Supergirl movie, I think it fails, because Helen Slater's movie, even though it wasn't great, it still was. You could tell it was a Supergirl movie. This is not a Supergirl movie. This is a girl trying to save her dog. It's a Mad Max in space. That's basically what it is. It feels like a European comic in some ways, which I can appreciate. I just, again, as a Supergirl movie, it doesn't work. I don't think.
Someone else said, with the flat humor, weak writing, predictable storytelling, another heavy dose of James Gunn's familiar style. It is.
Yeah,
Supergirl
you tell
ends up feeling less like a fresh beginning for DC and more like the peak of superhero burnout. I agree. Like I said, if it was another movie, not Supergirl, it would have been a much better movie. The fact that you're calling it Supergirl, it's just like you wanted to make a fucking Mad Max movie with your punk rock soundtrack. And then it's like, well, I'm in charge. Who can I put? I'll just throw Supergirl in there.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Like I said, if it's a Supergirl movie, if it's a movie that's not Supergirl, I would have rated it much higher, because it was not a bad movie, but it's not Supergirl.
No, it's not Supergirl. So, but there we go. I don't think it's going to do super great this weekend. Now, I do have more hope for Superman 2, because apparently she's going to be in that more. And the dynamic between her and Superman is actually really good.
It's very like, familiar, like you are family. Like they sit around and talk like you would with your brother or your cousin or whatever. And this, cousin in this case. But I'm saying it's definitely like a family dynamic, which I like. It's endearing. But we need more of that and less of, whatever the hell the rest of the movie was.
Yeah, and those scenes actually, it was very jarring. It just shows you how different this movie is tonally from the Superman movie, that this is like a 180 from it. And then to have her interact with Superman and kind of get pulled into like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be the same universe. Because it doesn't feel like it's in the same universe at all. It really doesn't.
Finding all these shithole planets.
Yeah.
The whole universe, aren't there any nice ones? They're all shitholes.
The whole universe is just one giant trailer park.
Like I said, I'd watch it again. I would. I liked it enough that I'd watch it again without a doubt. But I don't know if you would. I'm going to be like a lot nicer than Kneon. I usually am a lot more forgiving than he is. I'm like Vader to his emperor, as I've said before. But it just, I don't think it was the worst thing ever. I don't. I feel bad because I don't. It's
not your money.
Why? No, I feel bad because I don't know how to describe this. It's like you said, I don't know how to put it in a. If we were going looking for Supergirl, you're going to be disappointed. Don't bother. If you're going looking for just like a Mad Max type adventure with a girl with superpowers, you might be a little more happy.
Yeah, if you just want a science fiction action-y movie with the girl with superpowers, it's not Supergirl, then it works okay, I guess.
If you want Supergirl, just don't go into the theater for like the last 15, 20 minutes, and then you'll be
there you go. Just take a nice long dump. Or
go watch another the whole way through it, yeah.
Or go watch Toy Story 5 and then sneak in the last 15 minutes.
Like 15 minutes, and then you'll get
This
Supergirl.
one you'll get Supergirl.
Because that's the last 15 minutes is when you get Supergirl. So anyway, we can probably wrap this up. But there you have it. It's like, people are going to be like, you hate everything. It's like, no, I don't hate the movie. I don't. But I don't know how to feel about it because it's very confusing. But I don't think it's great either.
Yeah, it's very mid. If you like Tank Girl, you'll probably like
that's what you kind of said. They had to make sure they got in there too about that they sent Kal-El to Earth to rule everyone. They had to make sure that.
Yeah, they doubled down on that. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna just
And the mom was like, and Kara's mom was like, about just make sure you're good. And I think that's because they don't want her to be like her cousin's gonna be
toxic male cousin.
Yeah, they're gonna rule everybody. Yeah. But the thing is, they're both good. They're just good in different ways. Like she's more jaded. Like she said, what did she say? Like he always sees the good in people, and I see the truth. I think the truth is in the middle. And it's funny because between the two of us, I usually see, but you're usually more pie in the sky about people than I am. Because I usually can read people within a few minutes. I can tell if you're full of shit within a few minutes.
I don't have the empathy skills that you have. So I try to look at people's like motivation, and if it doesn't compute, I don't think about it because I've learned, unfortunately, that most people don't compute. Like they don't have very clean motivations, and that throws me.
Yeah, because I'm like, I used to be that way too, but I learned real quick. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Honestly, you can wait to streaming for this one.
Yeah, I think it felt like a streaming show to me, actually. It felt like the
fight scenes were good. The fight scenes were good.
When we had fight scenes.
Yes. Yeah. But like I said, if you want Supergirl, just come in the last 15 minutes and you're good to go. There you go. All right. We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk later. Bye.